Hello everyone and welcome to the session Accelerate Your IAM Modernization Journey with Oracle. My name is Sandeep Banerjee, Vice President of Product Development for Identity and Access Management and Oracle Cloud Platform Center of Excellence. Joining me today is a panel of notable security and identity management practitioners who are going to share with us their IAM modernization journeys with Oracle software and cloud services. Let me briefly introduce you to the panelists. We have Nitin Patel from American Electric Power, one of the largest investor-owned utilities in the US. AEP is a long-standing and strategic Oracle customer, leveraging a broad portfolio of our applications, technology software, and cloud services. Nitin is the technology manager for their identity and access management infrastructure. Next, we have Nicholas Eveslot from Arisant. He is the founder and senior enterprise architect of the company. Arisant is a strategic Oracle partner for IAM with over 100 customers throughout the US and an impressive portfolio of IT implementations. Then we have Jeff Neve from New South Wales Health in Australia. New South Wales Health is also a long-standing strategic Oracle customer, again, leveraging our applications, technology software, and cloud services. Jeff is the technology manager for corporate applications service delivery. Last but not the least, we have Craig Williams from Oracle Consulting. Craig is the director of security solutions for Oracle Consulting in North America. Oracle Consulting has been doing very interesting IAM work with our customers globally. Craig will be sharing one of those interesting stories with us today. Before we have the panelists share their thoughts and experiences, let me briefly set the context. Customers like you are on myriad IAM modernization journeys with different starting points, different pathways, different transient stages, and perhaps slightly different end goals as well. Despite these differences, we see some common DevSecOps and cost optimization goals driving these projects, mostly represented by the bullets on this slide. Now, these journeys involve IAM functionality being delivered in multiple ways, with software running on premises, in cloud, in various packaging and deployments like bare metal, VMs, containers, and microservices. The 2x2 on this slide depicts these journeys, and Oracle has solutions for all of them. Each of these solutions deliver increased benefits, and very importantly, they offer customers software packaging and deployment choices that best suit their modernization path. Customers can choose to continue running their IAM software on premises or in a private data center, as represented by the lower left box. They can move the IAM software running on bare metal and VMs as is to public cloud infrastructure like OCI, AWS, Azure, GCP, etc., as represented by the lower right box. They can deploy the IAM software as containers and microservices on any CNCF compliant Kubernetes distribution on premises, and this is represented by the top left box. And then customers wanting to move the IAM workload out of their data center completely and deploy cloud native services like OCI IAM and access governance, or run the containers and microservices in public cloud infrastructure like OKE and others, they can do that, as represented by the top right box. I'd suggest you keep a mental map of this 2x2 as you listen to the journeys of our panelists. With that, let me invite our first panelist, Nitin from AEP. Nitin, thank you for joining us today. Please tell us a little more about you and your IAM modernization journey.
Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Nitin Patel. I'm a technology manager responsible for enterprise systems, tools, and processes that manage electronic, physical, and privileged access at American Electric Power, AEP. AEP is one of the largest utilities serving nearly 5.5 million customers in 11 states and employs more than 17,000 people. Access management, logical and physical, is one of the foundational control categories in the technology control framework. In order to achieve operational excellence in support of AEP's regulatory requirement for NERC-CEP and SOX, a transformation of the identity and access management program was undertaken. In Q3 of 2020, we engaged Kapstone to modernize AEP's current electronic access management solution and platform, which manages around 1,800 plus applications and more than 500,000 entitlements. Main objective of this project was to reduce security risk and achieve absolute and total NERC-CEP and SOX regulatory compliance by implementing automatic detection and enforcement of separation of duties (SOD) policies, enable OIM as single source of truth for identity and access management lifecycle, and ensure risk of denial of right access for authorized users are adequately mitigated. Upgrade the current version of Oracle's Identity Manager (OIM), aka MyAccess, from 11G to 12C to incorporate additional capabilities. Unify access management tools into a single platform and upgrade the platform for compliance of internal cybersecurity standards. And last, also to streamline and enhance user experience, we implemented Kapstone's IGA to improve the efficiency of access certification and simplify compliance by providing meaningful information to reviewers such as historical review actions, peer and risk-based analysis. As part of modernization, AEP has been able to optimize processes and controls for proactive mitigation of NERC-CEP and SOX controls, along with implementation of proactive and detective segregation of duty controls. We have improved application access requests and provisioning along with additional enhancements to improve manual fulfillment experience. We have made additional enhancements to enable effective RBAC implementation. For effective access reviews and certification, we implemented Kapstone IGA Accelerator, which enabled reviewers to get insight on provisioned access leveraging risk-based analysis capability. We have also improved audit evidence gathering process along with self-service capabilities. As part of the project, we have set up OIM as a single source of identity and access lifecycle. We established additional connectors to enable automated access provisioning and deprovisioning, hence improving security and compliance posture. We have made OIM enhancements to manage and streamline service account lifecycle along with management of rogue accounts. With the upgrade, the Oracle Identity Manager platform is now compliant with internal cybersecurity standards. It has also enabled AEP to serve future business and regulatory requirements without making extensive enhancement to the base product. Roadmap. AEP is already leveraging containerization for various in-house initiatives and looking to develop a cloud-first approach to identity by implementing OIG containers. We are also exploring Oracle's Cloud Access Governance solution to adopt risk-based approach for intelligently managing risk and manage access for non-human identities and bots. Thank you. Sandeep, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nitin, for sharing that information. Your journey is a great example of a customer currently in the lower left box of the 2x2 I showed earlier and getting ready for containerization and cloud native services. You mentioned Kapstone, and Harish Jangada, their managing partner, is also in attendance today. So Harish, do you want to add something here?
Thank you, Sandeep. I'll be quick. We're seeing momentum around IAM containerization amongst our customer base. In addition to containerization initiative at AEP, Here are two more customer examples where Kapstone is actively engaged on the IAM containerization journey. For one of the healthcare provider, we're using Oracle Cloud Native Environment Management tools to deploy OIG and OUT 12c on containers. In another case, for our HIE customer, we're using OpenShift to deploy Oracle Access Manager 12c on containers. We're happy to discuss in detail on Kapstone's accelerator and our cloud native deployment experience and its benefits. That's all from me, Sandeep. Thank you again, and back to you.
Thank you, Harish, for sharing those two additional examples. They illustrate the growing momentum around IAM containerization and, more importantly, the versatility of Oracle IAM containers. We greatly value Kapstone's partnership in helping our customers be successful with Oracle solutions. Next, let me invite my Oracle colleague, Craig, from consulting, to share his customer story involving IAM containerization, an example of the top left box in the 2x2.
Hi, Sandeep. Thanks for the introduction. What Oracle Consulting Services, OCS, would like to talk about today is the containerization of Oracle's identity management products, specifically directory services for one of our large technology customers. The customer had a few challenges. They needed a phased adoption of a Kubernetes cluster using Tanzu. I know Oracle also is heavy into Verrazano, but this customer had a specific requirement on Tanzu. We need a hybrid solution until all global regions are using the containers in Tanzu, and the Americas are going to be the first to convert to use these Tanzu Kubernetes containers. One of the challenges was we had multiple directory services across the enterprise, not just Oracle, but we also had Red Hat and Radiant Logic. And then we're using a private registry and procedure for loading and using the OUD containers for the Tanzu implementation. So what Oracle Consulting did, we came in, we deployed OUD, Oracle Unified Directory, in the Tanzu Kubernetes clusters. We migrated OUD 12c from VMs to OUD in Tanzu, and then we helped develop an architecture for the migration of the Red Hat and Radiant Logic to OUD. So as you can see over on the right, this is the in-state architecture that we came up with, and it's been actually very successful. So I think the story here is we can do many types of clusters. We feel Verrazano is probably the best, but we've done Tanzu, we can do others. And then the results were that we have a scalable node template providing functionality from all three directories with OUD alone. And the document shows that. You can see how AD works with OUD. You can see how the other directories work with OUD. And one of the really cool things was the PKS Tanzu performance was within 10% of the current VM-based deployment before we did any performance tuning and optimization. So as we continue to performance tune and optimize, the performance is going to be way better than what we initially had within the VM infrastructure. Some of the challenges we face, right? Every project's going to have its challenge. And, you know, successful projects overcome their challenges. Any customer that's going to start using Kubernetes in production is introducing a new technology and procedure. So there's going to be a learning curve. You just have to account for that. You have to have the right partner in place to do that. So OCS has done it a ton of times. If you're a partner and you've done it a ton of times, that's great. If you need some assistance from OCS, let us know. We can help you with that. The original implementation is the first phase is a hybrid solution. So we have some running in containers and some running on VMs, but we're able to fully replicate across those. And we've got the hybrid solution going in the meantime until we get fully integrated into the Kubernetes container. So that was a little bit of thought on our side on how do we get that going. We got past that. And then one of the great things about Oracle Identity Management Containers on Kubernetes is You can scale these, of course, as more performance is needed. Newly patched IAM containers can be rolled out in the cluster as they get released. Very easy maintenance there. And the customer is using the private registries harbor in addition to other multi-cluster tools. So there's several benefits on here from this project. Some of the lessons learned, there's going to be a learning curve. So if you've not done it before, be aware of that. OCS can help us. Then you need to decide on how and where to place the cluster. Is it going to be on premise or is it going to be in the cloud? There's going to be many organizational touch points. That's true with any identity implementation. Identity spans the enterprise. So you got to get all the organizations involved that you're going to need. If you're doing it on premise, it can have new technology. You're going to need to pay attention to operational procedures because things are going to change with this implementation, but it's easier management when it's up and running and it's well integrated into your DevOps tools. Thanks again, Sandeep. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Craig. Please keep up the great work. And I know Oracle Consulting has many more IAM modernization successes under its belt, and we look forward to sharing them at our upcoming events. Next, I am pleased to invite Nicholas from Arisant to share their customer story involving Oracle IAM modernization with containers and VMs running in OCI. Now, this is a great example of a customer moving the IAM workload out of their data center to a public cloud infrastructure. That is, if you recall, the two right-hand side boxes in the 2x2. Nicholas, off to you.
Thank you, Sandeep, and thank you for the opportunity to present here today. My name is Niklas Iverslat, and I am a senior enterprise architect with Arisant out of Colorado. I have about 15 years or so of experience with identity and access management projects. Today, we're going to talk about Clarke County School District. They're the 5th largest school district in the US, a long-time Arisant customer. On the right side there is just the architecture diagram of their current architecture. Before we started this particular project, they were actually running Oracle Access Manager already on OCI, as well as some other applications. And they were running Oracle Identity Manager, OIG, still on-prem. Clarke County School District, as I mentioned, large school district, 350,000 kids, 50,000 teachers and staff. PeopleSoft, SAP, Infinite Campus, that's the student information management system, Canvas, online learning. We're running both Google and Office 365 for collaboration, Active Directory, obviously, and 20 or so more other applications. Some of the key functional challenges, very complex, multiple jobs and locations per employee, split FTE models where 30% they work in one role and 70% in another role, 20% job changes yearly, very transient student community. For example, one kid might be in one school one day and then a few weeks later they show up at another school with a slightly different name. So you can imagine this is a very chaotic and complicated identity and access management environment, but also they're getting tremendous benefit out of the Oracle identity stack. And there's probably not another identity management stack that can handle these kinds of scenarios as well as the Oracle stack can. Some of the key technical challenges then, which is really what this presentation is about. Our support team spent a lot of time researching, testing, and patching Identity Manager, as you can imagine. Quarterly patches, security patches, connector patches, all kinds of patches. So what we accomplished with this particular project, before it started, it was running 11G R2PS3 Identity Manager on-prem. And we actually lifted and shifted it, as they say, to OIG, the latest version running on Docker on OCI. We decided to deploy the solution on the OKE engine on OCI and DBCS instead of building our own Kubernetes cluster on-prem and deploying there. Some of the reasons why we went this path was that we knew that there was a lot of support required on-prem. So we are expecting 30 to 50% reduction in labor hours to support this solution. I say expected because the solution went live a couple of months ago, but so far so good. We're getting a pretty substantial reduction in infrastructure cost, 80%, and that's primarily because we were able to leverage an already existing OCI environment, as well as we're able to get rid of a bunch of servers. We're able to leverage our automated monitoring and management solution that we have deployed on OCI, so for monitoring Docker and Kubernetes. We're also expecting improved scalability and security because of where it's located and because we have a mature deployment there. Some of the project challenges, we started early, as we often do here at Arisant with Oracle technology, for better or for worse. So documentation was in pre-release mode, but we actually got a lot of good support from the Oracle solution engineer that was responsible for us and the customer, and then also later the Lighthouse team. Even though the team was very experienced in Kubernetes and Docker, we had done multiple deployments already on-prem. There were some initial struggles getting up and running, mostly documentation related. And for example, configuration of Helm was not particularly intuitive, but that said, the team worked through these challenges, and now I have to say that the team is productive, and we're in the process of deploying similar solutions. So some of the benefits then, so we're able to fully patch automatically. That includes download, build, and deployment dynamically by cluster node if the change is such. Scalable and flexible, that goes without saying. The OKE engine on OCI is really robust and scalable. No need to maintain our own Kubernetes cluster. That's something we've done for other customers and other environments, and that's a lot of work. So you definitely want to consider not doing that. And then DBCS on the database instead of the typical on-prem installation. So some of the lessons learned, after those initial documentation challenges, we are more productive than ever. Previous experience with containers and Kubernetes is a plus. And then leveraging the Lighthouse team is probably a really good idea, and I'm sure they're really happy to help out. So yeah, that's what I had for you guys today. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Back to you, Sandeep.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, for sharing CCSD's IAM modernization journey. Arisant has done fantastic work at CCSD and continues to do so at many of our joint customers. We greatly value our collaboration. Let me now invite our next and final panelist, Jeff Neve, who is the Technology Manager for Corporate Applications Service Delivery at New South Wales Health, also referred to as NSW Health. NSW has been an early and successful adopter of Oracle IAM microservices, and we are very thankful for that. Slightly different from the other journeys you heard about today, in case of NSW Health, they ran their IAM project as an in-house IT initiative. Now, since they chose to be different, let us also take a different approach with Jeff and have him share their journey in a conversational Q&A format. Let's get going. Welcome, Jeff, and thank you for being here. Why don't we start with a brief introduction about NSW Health and its journey with Oracle IAM?
Thanks, Sandy. Sure. New South Wales Health obviously is the public health. We manage public health for the state of New South Wales. The journey for us has been, we've been adopters of Oracle technology for many years actually, and started off with multiple instances of the ERP, eBusiness Suite ERP across the various local health districts that make up New South Wales Health. There are 23 local health districts and a number of other health agencies that we manage. The total employee population for New South Wales Health is about 200,000. So that gives you an idea about the size of the identity, the identities we need to manage. About 15 years ago, there was a project stood up to introduce HR and to the HR and procurement to the ERP footprint, and to create a single instance. So we had a state-based instance of the Oracle eBusiness Suite, which included finance, procurement, HR, payroll. It was at that time that we introduced the identity products, and it was introduced at that time to manage just that that ERP and suite of products. New South Wales Health is a large organisation, had a lot of software, has a lot of legacy software, had a number of identity products within the organisation, but with the need to move to things like MFA, the organisation had to settle on a single state-based identity platform. And after some internal wranglings, the Oracle platform has now taken on that role. So the Oracle footprint, which consists of OAM, we use OAM, the Adaptive Access Management piece, OID as a directory. Radius is a new component that's a microservice that's been added. And we also use the Identity Management component, OIM, to manage identities. That component alone is fairly complex inside New South Wales Health, because we lifecycle manage in real time as our staff move between districts, move between hospitals. Their identities need to be provisioned, you know, as they go. This is all managed from the HR assignments and happens in real time. So a reasonably sophisticated sort of solution there.
Definitely, Jeff. It sounds like an expansive system, and I'm sure you and your team are extremely busy. So let's take this to our next question. Can you share the highlights of the IAM microservices project? That is, if you can talk to what are the project goals that you had and what microservices are in scope, why did you select them? Something along the lines of, you know, how your implementation experience has been. I'm sure you've got some more coming your way, and perhaps some of the benefits that have been realized to date.
Sure. Look, firstly, you know, we're quite happy with Oracle's move to you know, a containerized microservice architecture for the products. We think it's a very positive step. It's for a number of reasons. One, it's consistent with our own strategy. The department to develop their own applications, and we've been using you know, Docker containers and you know, Kubernetes and this sort of technology for some time. We understand the benefits of microservices architecture in terms of flexibility and in allowing us to upgrade components independently and that sort of stuff. Probably the biggest advantage for us really is in terms of complexity. So the Oracle Identity solution manages currently about 150, or it protects about 150 separate applications, everything from on-premise applications to SaaS applications, some of Oracle SaaS applications, a lot of, you know, ServiceNow, lots of other SaaS applications, about 150 of them, including clinical applications. So it's obviously a fairly key, you know, critical piece of infrastructure. If the access management solution goes down, this is, you know, it's not only a financial impact for us, there can be clinical impact. So it's quite important to keep things up. The current deployment architecture spans multiple data centers. So we have a multi-data center deployment for our identity products here at Health. They're not only highly available within each data center, but it's running active between data centers. And oddly enough, this is not so much to protect against, of course, DR and unplanned outages, but the main benefit for us is being able to take planned outages. Since we've introduced that architecture some years ago, probably 3 to 4 years ago now, we've had zero downtime, and that's included as we've gone through product version upgrades. So we're able to switch to one data center, upgrade another data center independently, switch traffic back, and that sort of stuff. Now, the one downside of all of this is that that's quite a complex architecture, and it's quite a complex piece of moving bits to manage. I'm lucky that I've got a good set of staff, a good set of DBA system administrators, middleware staff who know these products fairly well, but it's still complex, and complexity is never a good thing. We do see the move to containerization and microservices as allowing us to simplify that complexity, and I think that's, for us, in practical terms, one of the biggest advantages of that the architecture.
Got it, Jeff. And in terms of your immediate project that you did with Oracle Radius Agent microservice, could you talk to that a little bit?
Sure. So we took that one first. Radius is a little bit of a legacy protocol, I guess, but in a large organization, there's still a lot of it around. We had a scenario where the solution that was providing Radius authentication, 2 reasons. One, it was a very expensive solution. So, the move to the Oracle Radius component, the fact that Oracle had a Radius solution, was good for us financially, without going into too much details there. The other reason is, of course, we wanted to introduce MFA to that solution, and everybody's MFA details are registered with the Oracle product, so we needed to bring it into the Oracle solution. The deployment itself was very simple. It's a simple Docker image. You can run as many of them as you like. They're stateless. They take Radius request as input. They talk LDAP out the back end for authentication, and they talk web services to get the MFA component to work. Now, natively, it's an interesting point. Natively, the Oracle Radius agent talks to OAA, the new microservice, access management microservice. We're not currently using that. We're currently using OAM for MFA. We will move to OAA, but we needed to get the Radius agent live quickly to meet the financial objectives. So we had to develop actually a small custom adapter that took the web service that came out of Radius agent and make the request to Oracle Access Manager rather than OAA. Now, that was, it's just a REST call, so a little bit of code, no big deal. It allowed us to go live with Radius agent now and delay the migration of OAM to OAA to allow us to do that in a more sort of systematic manner. But what this does highlight actually is the advantages of a microservice architecture, the fact that you've got the flexibility to do that sort of stuff without too much energy. If it was one monolithic application, we wouldn't have had that flexibility. So that's probably an important point to highlight.
Well, that's great, Jeff, and I think it's worth for me to repeat it. Certainly, it's a credit for Oracle, and thank you for mentioning it, that the cost proposition with the Oracle Radius agent was better compared to what you had. And then the ability to build on that with complementing ORA, Radius agent microservice, with OAA, which is Oracle Adaptive Access microservice. That's a kind of continuum which customers tend to benefit from, and we are really pleased to hear that NSW Health is going down that path. Thank you for sharing that. But the obvious question is, what's next? So what's next in NSW Health's IAM modernization journey? You already referred to some of the new microservices that you're looking to add to what you've already delivered with Oracle Radius Agent. Are there plans to explore containerization of your IAM environment further, or for that matter, to even explore other cloud-native capabilities such as OCI IAM and Oracle Access Governance?
Yes, look, that's a complex journey. So certainly we are, as I say, we see moving to the microservices will simplify our deployment architecture. So we'll definitely be doing that. We've been a long-term user of the Oracle Adaptive Access Manager, OIAM component. Within that component, and we've been looking forward to the adaptive risk microservice being released. We weren't too sure what the future of OIAM was, so we're very happy to see the adaptive risk component being released. We've not used a lot of the sophisticated rules within OIAM because we weren't too sure of its future. We're looking forward to implementing adaptive risk management so that we can introduce some of the new rules for things such as impossible travel and that sort of stuff. One of the drivers, I think, there's obviously an increase in sort of malicious activity, particularly for state organisations. I'm sure it's across the board for everybody. So increasing our security footprint is obviously one of the important drivers here. Introducing some new functionality, push notification, FIDO, that sort of stuff is on the roadmap. In terms of migration to cloud, that's another whole story. Health, along with a lot of organisations, have been on this cloud migration journey for some time. I would say that a good percentage of health applications are now in public cloud. Health are a big user of the major public cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and Oracle. That migration in some cases is the migration from on-premise e-business suite, for example, to the SaaS product itself. Some of the migrations are just lift and shift to using IaaS components. Oracle New South Wales Health is on the journey to move all of that core ERP functionality into the Fusion applications. Along with that, there'll be the usage of OCI and some of the PaaS components, integration cloud service, and so forth. We get new requirements at short notice all the time, unfortunately. And from my perspective, the important things are being able to have the flexibility. And again, microservices, I think, definitely aids to the flexibility of what we're able to do. Flexibility is important, so we can meet the requirements as they come up, because sometimes you don't have a lot of visibility of new requirements. Availability is always key. I can see New South Wales Health with not a multi-data center deployment strategy, but a hybrid deployment strategy with some of those components remaining on-prem, where there will remain a lot of critical clinical applications, and some of those components being public cloud-based, because a lot of our applications are now cloud-based. So we probably need to span both, and again, from an availability perspective.
That's great, Jeff. And we like the idea of you getting requirements on short notice, and hopefully that gives us the opportunity to deliver more value to you with what we can bring to bear. But thank you again, Jeff, for giving us your time today. This was a fantastic summary of what New South Wales IAM modernization journey is all about at the moment. Microservices being one part of it, of course, but there is so much more that's going around that. And thank you for sharing that one more time. Appreciate the time.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So that was great. And let me start wrapping up the session now. I will quickly summarize what you heard. Oracle customers are on myriad IAM modernization journeys, and our product portfolio supports all of them. Very importantly, the Oracle approach and products offer options that customers can select from based on their modernization goals. We have a strong and experienced IAM partner ecosystem, helping our customers accelerate their modernization journey. I share here some useful Oracle resources to strategize and execute your plans, and also links to our partners who presented their customer stories today. Thank you so much for attending the session. I hope you found it useful, and we look forward to staying connected. Thank you.